Welcome to MOOC's course on Urban Local Governance. Today's topic is Green City. I am Dr. Sujata Balaji, Assistant Professor and Head of the Department, Presidency College. Today, everyone expressed their views on emission of carbon dioxide due to burning fossil fuels, emission of chlorofluorocarbon through refrigerator, air conditioner, paints, sprays, and also more nitrous oxide which is used as fertilizers causing climate change. All these adversely affects on greenhouse gases. We know that due to the increased level of greenhouse gases, the temperature of the earth has increased considerably. This has led to several drastic effects such as cloudburst, acid rain, and extreme cold and heat. As we all know, emissions such as carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, chlorofluorocarbon is a major cause of this greenhouse effect. The bulk of these emissions can be traced back to poor urban planning, the inevitable result of designing our cities, resulting enormous factories, automobiles, industrial waste, landfills, deforestation. What causes all these? These are the causes of rapid urbanization without proper plan. That is why we are here to discuss about the green city. Today's contents are: why green city? What are the attributes to make the city green, and how it is related to the sustainable goals of United Nations, and what are the contributions of green city towards sustainable environment, green city and how it relate to the urban biodiversity conservation. So how green city can be created by the government, public and all the stakeholders who are involved in it, and how environmental deterioration happens, and what are the pillars of sustainable green city, green urbanism, how to create green city, initiate India's strategic initiatives towards green city award and challenges of green city. The sustainable city. The green city is also called a sustainable city, eco city, and it is designed with consideration for social, economic, environment impact and resilient habitat for existing populations without compromising the ability of future generations to experience the same. Due to rapid urbanization, unplanned cities, compromising environment and all sort of pollution causing more damages to the human beings than ever before. If we do nothing, the threats posed by rapid urbanization will only grow more and tremendous in the years to come. Right now, more than half of the Earth's human population lives in cities. So, cities expand with growing population and comforts. So, what are we going to do about it? Is the green city is the only solution for it? Green city is an outcome of conscious urban planning and development designed with consideration given to the impact on the environment. The effort to minimize the required inputs of energy, water and food, and the elimination of waste, output of heat, air pollution and water pollution. Sustainable goals and green city. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are 17 goals with 169 targets that all 191 UN member states have agreed to try to achieve by the year 2030. Among that, the goal 11 explains about making cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient and sustainable. Today, more than half of the world population lives in cities. By 2050, an estimated 7 out of 10 people will likely to live in urban areas. UN Sustainable Goals and Green City are those that are dedicated to achieving green sustainability, social sustainability and economic sustainability. They are committed to doing so by enabling opportunities for all through a design focused on inclusivity as well as maintaining a sustainable economic growth. The focus also includes minimizing required inputs of energy, water and food and drastically reducing waste, output of heat, air pollution, carbon dioxide, methane and water pollution. Sustainable environment and green city. A green city ensures biodiversity and also the environment to ensure water storage, dampens noise and help cooling down in warm periods. A green city is a city with a livable environment, a strong economy and a social and cultural sense of community. Generally, developmental experts agree that a sustainable city should meet the needs of the present without sacrificing the ability of future generations. Can a city be green without compromising the future generation? Yes or no? Yes. The thing about green city is not just planting a bunch of trees, recycling plastic bottles, recycling water, using cloth bag instead of plastic bags. It doesn't end there. We all need to do lot more of urban planning, designing, technical research and policy making behind the scene in realizing each and every aspects of green city. What is the most common challenge? The most common challenge is creating green city along with urban diversity conservation. It is possible in this chart, if you look into it, it is possible only through green development and creating green infrastructure. Followed with how will you create a green infrastructure? The green infrastructure can be created through bioarchitecture, green spaces, green paths, urban forests, urban farms, green belts, green energy. The bioarchitecture is nothing but creating green roofs, outdoor green walls and greenhouses. So, green paths is creating bicycle lanes, green and blue ecological corridors. Now, so many countries have started with urban farming. Singapore, Germany, Canada, almost all the countries started with urban farms creating green energy. How green city can be created? The role played by the architecture is huge in making a city green as it encompasses all the activities which are required at this stage. The activities include eco-industrial park, urban farming, urban infills, vertical forest and transport planning. Eco-industrial park should be built to fit into the natural settings in order to reduce environmental impacts which can be accomplished through plant design, landscaping and choice of materials. The landscaping of the building will include native trees, grasses and flowers, and the landscaping design will also act as climate shelter for the facility. The purpose of an industrial park, eco-industrial park, is to connect a number of firms and organizations to work together to decrease their environmental impact while simultaneously improving their economic performance. The components for building an eco-industrial park include natural system, more efficient use of energy and more efficient material and water flows. Here I have given an example of Singapore, which is pioneering the way to create a greener urban environment. Here there are a number of offices working together as well as it is creating a green space along with it. It's a very best example for this. Singapore is one of the greenest country cities in the world. Singapore has a very ambitious target to become a city in nature by 2030. It has made lot of investments to enhance biodiversity in the country, improve air and water quality and combat climate change. The government also invested in sustainable housing, transportation and waste management solutions. There is another example in the picture. You can see Bishan Ang Mo Kio Park, which is most popular in the Heartland parks. Now, the second method for creating a green city is urban farming. It is a process of growing and distributing food as well as raising animals in and around a city or an urban area. There are many motivations behind urban agriculture, but in the context of creating a sustainable city or a green city, this method of food cultivation saves energy in food transportation and saves cost. In order for urban farming to be a successful method of sustainable food growth, cities must allow a common area for community gardens or farms, as well as a common area for farmers market in which the foodstuffs grown within the city can be sold to the residents of the urban system. Now we can see in the picture, urban farming makes cities more resilient and sustainable. The top roof of those big buildings and the passages whichever left has been used for urban farming. Urban infill. Many cities are currently in a shift from the suburban sprawl model of development to a return to a urban dense living. Urban infill is another method of creating a green city. The shift in a geographical distribution of population leads to a denser core of city residents. These residents provide a growing demand in many sectors that is reflected in the architectural fabric of the city. Having people live in higher densities not only gives the economies of scale but also allows for infrastructure to be more efficient. This is an example for Kendall Yard, Spokane, Washington, which has transformed an 80-acre rail yard into a sustainable walkable community. About this place, it is formerly known as West Spokane Yard. The property was once home to a busy steam engine maintenance facility, miles of track, a roundhouse, a fuel storage, refueling facilities. West Spokane Yard remained a bustling hub until the 1950s. When the shift from steam to diesel locomotives transformed the industry, it has left assets. So, through this area, the infill development has been taken place. Infill development is nothing but redeveloping underused land in existing urban areas which can revitalize communities, improve transportation and protect the environment. In communities across the country, infill development projects are creating healthier and vibrant neighborhoods. This is an aesthetic architecture of infill development which is matching the surrounding. If you could see into the picture, the two adjacent buildings are very popular. In between, the passage has been used for urban infill. The next way of creating a green city is through vertical forest. There is an example here I have given from the heart of Milan, the vertical forest, which is short on space. People live in cities, have often looked upwards for places to expand. In Milan, Italy, architects have done the same with tree cover, creating a vertical forest on two residential tower blocks, boasting 800 trees, 4,500 shrubs and 15,000 plants. The forest would cover an area the size of 3.5 football pitches if planted on the ground. Similar projects are underway in cities in Switzerland, Netherlands and also in China. This is the picture of Milan, Italy, what we spoke about earlier. Next one is transport planning. Transport planning is another way of creating a green city. Sustainable transportation attempts to reduce the city reliance on use of greenhouse emitting gases by utilizing eco-friendly urban planning, low environmental impact vehicles and residential proximity to create an urban center that has greater environmental responsibility and social equity. Transport planning is initially created with the less car-free city. The concept of car-free cities or a city with large pedestrian areas is often part of the design of a sustainable city. A large part of the carbon footprint of a city is generated by cars, so the car-free concept is often considered an integral part of the design of a sustainable city. And the next concept in transport planning is the 20-minute neighborhood. Imagine if everything you needed for a happy, healthy life could be found within a 20-minute public transport trip, bike ride or walk from home. Some cities are working to make this a reality. With Melbourne leading the way, it wants residents to always be within easy reach of things like shops, business services, education or leisure facilities and anything they can do. In Paris, the mayor is using the Rio de Rivoli as a prototype for a future metropolis in which no Parisian should need to travel more than 15 minutes on foot or by bike to work, shop or deal with a government agency. Another important aspect is smarter commuting. Smarter commuting in Israel, a new app could hold the key to creating faster, cleaner and more convenient commutes. Smarter commuting users enter the location and destination and an algorithm calculates the most efficient journey. Public transport is then rerouted accordingly. Another example for it is the grain train track. The regeneration projects are also at the forefront of sustainable city initiatives and they were certainly on the right track in many countries. Bangkok, where the shortage of green spaces has come under scrutiny. Now an old elevated railway line has been turned into a city park. It may not be a large, but it has outsized importance as a catalyst for urban regeneration and can change the way people look at public places. Here you can have a look at Ukraine's leafy green tunnel passway. By 2050, it is estimated that almost 70% of the world population will live in cities. So, what one can do to make it better? Here is an example in Vancouver, the best example for urban planning. The process and practices by which Vancouver became the greenest city in the world are they planned and implemented a comprehensive corporate waste reduction and diversion program for all city facilities, and it developed a procurement policy and practice that supports the purchase and use of local food in city run facilities, including community centers and park board restaurants and concessions. Look for opportunities to green community events that the city runs, sponsors and permits. The plan and implement a program to significantly reduce greenhouse gas emission as well as fossil fuel use in city run buildings and vehicles and achieve carbon neutral operations. This is a photograph of green view of Vancouver. You can look at the rear view as well as a closer view how the city has been planned. Full of greeneries, the building is covered with all green spaces. Vancouver city, known its stunning natural setting, you would have noticed, and commitment to protecting the environment. It is one of the greenest cities in Canada. The city has a goal of becoming carbon neutral by 2050 and has been implementing a number of initiatives such as expanding its network of bike lanes to help achieve this goal. How environmental deterioration happens? Only if we know how environmental deterioration happens, we could able to plan accordingly to eliminate all those. Cities suffer from deterioration in all life systems. Poor environmental planning and lack of environmental issues being fully studied and considered at early stages during the preparation of spatial and detailed plans. Urban areas are mainly responsible for more than 70% of global energy related to carbon dioxide emissions, and obviously this percentage will increase as the urbanization trend continues. So, how to attain a sustainable green city? The three pillars of sustainable green city is social development, economic development and environment management. When you look into the three pillars, you could notice the sustainability remains only when you achieve all these three things: society, economics and environment. These are the three important aspects of every human being, and if it has been concentrated properly, the sustainable green city is possible. Green urbanism. Green urbanism is how we use our energy and material, water and biodiversity and urban planning and transport. So, when you talk about energy and material, whatever the renewable energy solutions, energy sources and consumption should be properly planned according to the country's possibility. And water and biodiversity, if you take urban farming, ecosystem biodiversity, grey water recycling, waste management and urban water management, all these kinds, if you concentrate properly, it is possible. When you talk about urban planning and transport, so mixed land use, housing affordability, reducing car dependency, health and walkability, ecological city theory and social sustainability. So, these interactions of three main pillars will result in green urbanism. Smart city, eco city, sustainable city is not a challenge or a issue for a government. It is possible for those who plan properly. Urban planning and development, are we ready for green city means the thing about green city is not just planting a bunch of trees, recycling plastic bottles and recycling water using cloth bag instead of plastic bags. It doesn't end there. We all need to do lot more of urban planning, designing, technical research and policy making behind the scene in realizing each and every aspects of green city. So, how do we create? So far we discussed the ways and means of creating a green city. By using different agricultural system such as agricultural plots within the city, whether it is a suburb or center, which reduces the distance food has to travel from field to fork, maybe either small scale private farming plots or through larger scale agriculture. Second way is to use renewable energy sources such as wind turbines, solar panels or biogas created from sewage to reduce and manage pollution. Cities provide economies of scale that make such energy sources viable. There are various methods to reduce the need for air conditioning such as passive daytime radioactive cooling applications, planting trees and lightening surface colors, natural ventilation system, an increase in water features and green spaces equaling at least 20% of the city surface. These measures counter the heat island effect caused by an abundance of tarmac and asphalt, which can make urban areas several degrees warmer than surrounding rural areas, as much as 6 degrees Celsius during the evening. Improved public transport and an increase in pedestrianization to reduce car emissions, this requires a radically different approach to city planning with integral business, industrial and residential zones. Roads may be designed to make driving difficult. Optimal building density to make public transport viable but avoid the creation of urban heat islands. Now we discuss what India's strategic initiatives towards green city. To reduce the carbon intensity of the Indian economy, to meet clean energy targets and to provide large scale green job opportunities, India announced a slew of measures for green growth, including initiatives related to green fuel, green farming, green mobility, green buildings and green equipment. Policies for the efficient use of energy across various sectors of the economy are also being implemented. The outlay of the project is 19,700 crore. Target is annual production of 500 million metric tons of green hydrogen by 2030. The National Green Hydrogen Mission is taken to reduce dependence on fossil fuels imports and make the country assume technology and market leader in the sunrise sector. The energy transition is another way of India's strategic initiatives towards green city. The budget provides 35,000 crores for priority capital investment towards energy transition, net zero objectives and energy security by the Union Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. The outlay is 35,000 crore. The Green Credit Program is another popular program in which, in order to encourage behavioral change, Green Credit Program under the Environment Protection Act 1986, it will incentivize environmentally sustainable and responsive actions by companies, individuals and local bodies. Vehicle replacement also started by Indian government by replacing old polluting vehicles and as an important part of greening our economy. Furthering, the vehicle scrapping policy mentioned in budget 2021 to 22 allocated funds to scrap old vehicles of the central government. State will also be supported in replacing old vehicles and old state ambulances. The other new missions launched by the Government of India are Atal Mission for Regeneration and Urban Transformation, AMRUT, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, that is housing for all, Smart Cities Mission, Swachh Bharat Mission, Heritage City Development and Augmentation Yojana, Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, National Urban Livelihood Mission, reaching 500 gigawatts non-fossil energy capacity by 2030, 50% of our energy requirements to come from renewable energy by 2030 and reduction of total projected carbon emissions by 1 billion tons from now to 2030. Reduction of the carbon intensity of the economy by 45% by 2030, achieving the target of net zero emissions by 2070. These are the programs and schemes which is initiated by the Indian government towards green city. India also backed the Green City Award. The Association of International D Producteurs D Horticulture tries to recognize best practices in landscaping, cultivating plants and flowers. The AIPH World Green City Awards is an ongoing competition with entries open every 2 years, allowing approximately 18 months from the call for entries to the award ceremony. Cities are invited to enter and the winners are announced at the special gala event award ceremonies. To promote the green city concept, the AIPH World Green City Awards announced to recognize best practices in landscaping, cultivating plants and flowers. The award instituted by Association International des Producteurs D Horticulture. The IIPH World Green City Awards is an ongoing competition with entries open every 2 years, allowing approximately 18 months from the call for entries to the award ceremony. Cities are invited to enter and the winners are announced at special gala event award ceremonies. Green city is difficult but possible. There are few challenges of green city which we can see now. The coordination among multiple stakeholders like public, government, constructors is needed to bring a massive change in the concept of city development. Channeling finances to the green city will not produce any effect at the initial stage, and retrofitting existing cities also involves lot of investments. Quick approval and the clearance from the government and the organization is also important. Eliminating dependence on fossil fuel is an age-old practice of public, which is to get rid is also difficult. Lead the world in green building, design and construction is also needed. Make walking, cycling and public transport preferred transportation option, and creating zero waste, creating access to green spaces to residents including urban forest, and having the best drinking water, breathe the cleanest air of any major city in the world. These are the challenges of green city. Now we discuss about which city in India bagged World Green City Award. In the year 2022, Hyderabad bagged the coveted World Green Cities Award, beating Paris, Bogota, Mexico City, Montreal and Fortaleza in Brazil. The award announced during a dinner gala hosted in Jeju, Republic of Korea, recognizing nature-oriented approaches to city design and operation. The award is given by Association of International Desk Protectors Del Horticulture to recognize the best practices in landscaping, cultivating plants and flowers. Hyderabad won the category of Living Green for Economic Recovery and Inclusive Growth category. The award acknowledged the state's program of Telangana Ku Harita Haram, a large-scale tree planting program that the state has taken up from 2015 to 16. The program envisages increasing the tree cover of the state from 24% to 33% of the total geographical area of the state. In the category of Living Green for Economic Recovery and Inclusive Growth, the greening of the outer ring road was submitted as Hyderabad's entry. The category focuses on creating systems and solutions that allows all city residents to overcome economic distress and thrive, and overall greenery called as Green Necklace to the state of Telangana was adjudged the best in the category. We all have a role to play. Now we have come to the end of the Green City chapter. People all over the world today, more than ever, acutely aware of the potential devastation of climate change, floods due to cloudburst, water scarcity and much more that can cost to human life and the environment due to massive urbanization. It is now more than ever the time to create an environment where there is healthy competition between countries to reduce all kinds of pollution. Governments all over the world encourages green strategic initiatives to provide the best solutions and products that can help us limit or even eradicate damages, because there is no planet B, and after all, this is the only home we have. Thank you.